122 South Africans will be returning home today from Wuhan in China. Yesterday, Health Minister Zweli Mkhize announced that they will stay at the Ranch Hotel in Polokwane and they will be there for up to 21 days. The property will be used as a quarantine facility under the full direction as well as the full guidance of the local authorities. South African National Defence Force medics left for Wuhan in China on Tuesday night to oversee the repatriation of the group, which includes students as well as teachers who've been begging to be brought back home since the outbreak first began in January. We will now cross live to our reporter Malungelo Booi, who's very closely following developments from the ground in Polokwane as the country awaits in eager expectation for the return of the 122. A very good afternoon to you, Malungelo. I guess it's all system goes and it's hours before the arrival of the 122 who are coming in from Wuhan, China. Give us an idea of the type of preparations that the venue has been making in order to accommodate the 122 under quarantine.
That's right, Tammy. In fact, we're outside the Ranch Resort, which is about 25 kilometers from Polokwane. And this is where exactly those 122 South Africans that are currently being repatriated from Wuhan, China, will be kept for about 14 to 21 days. The area really, Tammy, is under strict military and police guidance, as you can see. At the gate, there's police officers, but when you go inside, the military is actually present there. That essentially tells you, Tammy, that the state is now in full control of this facility. This is where those 122 South Africans that we're expecting them to arrive will be kept. This time around in South African soil. They have been in China for several months now, as you said. The outbreak really of COVID-19 really breaking out in December last year. In fact, on the 29th, the World Health Organization this week describing it as a pandemic, simply meaning that governments around the world need to do everything possible to make sure that they put systems, Tammy, in place to prevent the spread of this virus.
So, Malungelo, that there are some medics who have travelled with the South African team to help with the repatriation. What type of facilities are available inside the ranch as far as the quarantining process is concerned?
Well, what we've been told, Tammy, is not a lot really about what kind of facilities that are there, but what authorities have actually been saying to us is that this facility is ready really to deal or to accommodate these 122 South Africans that will be repatriated. One of the things that government officials have actually said was that all these South Africans have actually tested negative for this virus, and therefore they'll be kept here to make sure that they remain so. What we also know is that they'll be under strict guidance really of the military medics, but we also know that there will be officials from the National Institute for Communicable Diseases that will also be monitoring them here, these South Africans, for that 14 and 21 days before they're actually released and allowed to go back to their communities. But also, Tammy, here's what's also interesting is that we're not getting a lot of details really as to when that plane that will be carrying these South Africans will arrive here in South Africa. There's talk that it could actually arrive tomorrow, but officials really not saying much. But what is clear is that this is where these 122 South Africans will be kept for about 14 to 21 days.
Malungelo, those details as far as the logistics, the travelling, when they arrive, where they arrive, how they'll be getting to the ranch, as you say, remain sketchy for now. But earlier on, we were talking to Linda Mnisi, and we've heard from members of the community as well, who have expressed a level of trepidation and anxiety, feeling that Limpopo has been exposed. Why is it that the ranch has been selected as the venue for the quarantining. But won't you give us a sense of the geographics of where the ranch is located? This in comparison and juxtaposing it to the local community does look like a pretty isolated area. But this is me talking from where I am. You are right there on the ground. How far is it from the communities?
That's right. It's actually quite isolated, Tammy. I mean, there's no nearby communities that I see here. I mean, it's about 25 kilometers away from Polokwane. And one of the things the Minister yesterday of Health, Dr. Zweli Mkhize, said was that the reason why they chose this particular resort was because it's actually quite far away from everything. So it's not easy for people to access this area. There are no nearby communities. And even so, Tammy, if you move closer to the facility itself, then no member of the public would be able to get access to that facility, because at the main gate of the facility, there's police officers. But then when you go inside, you will see the military making sure that no member of the public enters this facility. It is essentially a no-go area for people like me and you.
Well, thank you so much, Malungelo. We certainly will be keeping in touch with you as well as Linda throughout the course of the day as we monitor very closely the repatriation of the 122 South Africans who are being flown in from Wuhan, China. They will be in Limpopo for a number of days as they undergo quarantine.